All right, welcome back to the For the Badge podcast. Chelsea Football Club have won in the Champions League. Guys, am I hearing this right? Chelsea has won 2 games in a row.
Two.
Is that the
Two.
first time this season?
First time since November.
Ooh.
I thought it was December, but yeah, it might be November.
So what do we think of a massive victory over Dortmund?
Much needed. And no, I honestly, as much as I like to rag on, I thought it was a great game. I thought a lot of players highlighted themselves very, very well. It was super glad to see Ben Chilwell step out of his shell, looking like Ben Chilwell before the injury. Maybe I might want to throw in. That's just me. He doesn't look timid. He's coming into challenges. He's standing up for himself. Thought he had a game. Stood on his head. I like seeing Reece James on the other side, although Reece, it was typical Reece James fashion, and I don't understand necessarily why they did it so much for the team like Dortmund. Reece gets caught up a lot. He's deep in that box sometimes. And
He's casual, man.
It's troublesome at times with speed down the side. Like, we have to be really careful about leaking goals that way. But all that aside, I thought Enzo, like, people are saying Bellingham bodied Enzo, made Enzo had a bad game. I thought Enzo and Kovacic it did exactly what they were supposed to do in the midfield for the majority of this game. I felt like they were supposed to body.
Bellingham tried to take James out, man.
Bellingham did nothing. Let's be real. He did nothing.
Right. I don't know where all this, like, he's bodying Enzo out, or he dog walked Enzo. I don't necessarily. I thought they both had a decent. Enzo didn't highlight himself out, but you're not stopping both him and Kovacic, which was the key there. He got that right. I love to see that. That was awesome. And this is as close to the team as I want it to be every week, barring Kai. Although I do understand Kai, for one reason, and he doesn't look the same as Timo, and he's not as good as a distributor as Timo, I would say, for setup play, but Kai is probably the only player that has the skill set to hold the ball at least a bit for us to catch up and get up there, which understandably is why he's playing the 9. I get that, but there's no conversion. And that's been the issue for 3 seasons now. There's no conversion from our 9. If you're going to utilize that, then play him false. Play 4 in the mid. Why keep beating this horse when we don't have the player to do it? That was the only downfall that I saw from this game, was the final third, was the finishing touch. We got robbed. Raheem, I think, got lucky. I called it in the chat. I told you, I said, if he doesn't hit that the first time, he gets lucky that it bounces to him in stride to where he can put it back on frame. Kai scores the most amazing.
Thrilling at City.
yeah. It's all he scores is tap-ins. That's it. And he whiffs one of the biggest moments. Anyway, Kai hits one of the most beautiful goals I've seen from Kai Havertz since the Germany goal. Doesn't count.
He can do it when it doesn't count.
Oh, he can. Oh, I think he knew too. He was so casual about hitting the ball, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, like that was beautiful," and it doesn't count.
Yeah, he hits the upper 90, bounces
it. Banger of a goal. Yeah.
Well, what do you feel about? How do you feel about? Because I know Patrick and I were talking about it. How Havertz is trash in the league. Let's just throw it out there. But when it comes to a wild European night at home with the Champions League on the line, he has his performance of the season. So, I mean, is that where we're at right now? It's just like expect Kai to show up in the next round, and
it's kind of
to hell with the rest of the league.
Does he not show up better for international games than he did for us and before us?
Club and country.
I think he's a better international player than he is a domestic in any given situation.
Would you say that Germany plays weaker opposition than Chelsea does?
In Europe?
In general.
Yeah. These club teams have no holes, or they're built to not have any holes.
I mean, Chelsea would wreck Germany. Some of those
national teams have issues. We just saw that, which we'll get to, I know, but some of these club teams have issues, but some of these national teams have massive issues, like PSG showed they have, and didn't necessarily know, we have a perfect team built. all this, but like you guys called it. I thought PSG was going to really step up and show Bayern. Like on paper, it looked really even, and you guys called it at the beginning of the season not to get off of this. But you said they have holes, and they're going to get exploited here. And I think that's going to be Chelsea's problem running deep into this thing. Yes, I think we do face stiffer opposition, which I was glad to see us stand up against Dortmund. This is a Chelsea team that I think everybody wants to tune in and watch. And this was a fun game to watch. The conversion is the only thing I have an issue with. Some of the subs, I get, like, you want to keep them European prime to sell. This is such a big game for everyone at the club, like not just those for sale, the management moving forward. Because if we don't make a deep run in this, we face financial issues. Like that's more than we can handle, because now we did break the law, and now we will face penalties, and now we do have all these issues that everyone's being like, oh, Chelsea can really be in some hot water when they're buying all these players like this. It comes with the stipulations, but it was such a must-win game. Like Christian Pulisic does not make this squad for me. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. He doesn't make a substitution for me. He just doesn't.
That was out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, right?
Well, what do you think, Patrick? They at least played for the badge. Some of them at least.
Right.
I thought it was actually a continuation of what we saw at Dortmund. I thought the Dortmund kind of expected it, and so they had spells where they really did control the ball instead of playing on the counter, which it felt like that's what they did at Dortmund. I came away impressed with how we utilized Cuckoo with Chilwell. And I think the best way to put it is we allow Cuckoo to be the defender that he is and not ask him to get too far upfield and try to cross the ball and then get, bullied off the ball, and let Chilwell do what he's great at, which is running at defenders, crossing the ball, finding people in the box. I mean,
C19, he had one. Sorry, not to cut you off. It just, when you said that, it reminded me. Chilwell did, like, the in-lane cuts that he was making, got him into the box, got him in space, got him open on goal. But that would have been a banger had he hit that.
No, but he didn't have to play the defense, right? So he could focus on hitting the Tottenham fan in row C19.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Let's see. He had technically would have been the assist for Sterling. Did he have the cross that ended up being the PK? I want to say he did.
The handball, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say he did. So I mean, he had a ton of impact on this game. One thing I did notice when you were talking about Reece, after we went up 1-0, they dropped him back into the defense on corners.
Yeah,
because he didn't get sucked in too much then.
And you're exactly right. It was before we went one up. We were playing that a little desperate for me, which is how we kind of got caught at Dortmund playing that. I know
that's
it was on the corner,
though, man.
But I get it. I do.
You got
I do. But Reece James being almost offsides with Raheem Sterling on a backdoor cross is that's not like, I love him to death. Don't get me wrong. I hate talking bad about Reece James, but that's not where I want my right wing back to necessarily be in that moment. Like, I need you back, like, just 5 more yards, hit one from outside the box. I'm good with that. But being almost offsides is just, dude, you're going to get burned. Like, I know he's good. I know he's fast. I know he's physical. You're not catching him, Bob. You're not catching homie that scored if he's playing. That scored on us last time.
He didn't play. He didn't even
I know he didn't.
He was hurt. Yeah.
He's hurt.
Is he hurt?
He's hurt.
Yeah.
He's out for like 3 months. Yeah.
No, he should be back. I think he was out for 6 to 8 weeks. So he should be back soon. Yeah. There's an interesting developing story, though, at Chelsea. If you really, really think about it, which center back pairing do you want to play now? Do you want Badiashile with Thiago, or do you want Koulibaly with Fofana? Those two locked it down. Fofana was all over the place again.
I want Silva. Well, I mean, I love David.
I say Badiashile and Fofana.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Why not? Because if you're gonna continue the letting Cucurella do the left center back role, then Fofana, Badiashile, Cuckoo with Chile and James on the wing backs.
Well, the thing though is Badiashile plays more on the left than he does center.
My whole issue
So he's
with
the same as Cucurella.
yeah, but my whole thing with Cucurella in the league, like in European games, and we're playing people like Borussia, fine. Cucurella is not going to be able to hold that spot down in any league game, like any league game that we play in the Prem.
It's the quarterfinals of the Champions League you've advanced to.
Right, but I understand that. But dude, man's not holding back Ivan. Like if you're playing Cucurella at a left center back position and you're letting him do that, like players like Ivan Toney, Mitrovic, Saliba, like or Jesus, don't let us line up against City. They have 5 players who will just decimate that man in the box. But like, my biggest thing about Cucurella is it's not big enough to play. He needs to be on the outside of the defense. You put him in a center back role. That's how we're gonna get misman marked.
One man of the match.
And he does not my man in the match.
Which doesn't make sense to me, but
Chilwell is my man in the match.
But
no, I get what you're saying though. I think we just preserve the youth and let Badiashile and Fofana run it.
I mean, that'd be fun to see. I mean, the thing though is Koulibaly's looks so good in the center, and like he looks like the guy that we were trying to buy. I mean,
dude, how mad would you be if Napoli was running this high after you'd been there for 20 years?
Yeah,
I'd be so upset.
Well, another guy that I've heard mentioned a lot in the media, and you know how British media is, talking about he's a Chelsea flop already. Mudryk didn't come in.
I don't
Not
know
surprised.
I don't understand.
I think flop is way
Sterling was having a good game, and that's the check for Raheem Sterling at Chelsea right now is act like you don't want to play out there. We'll put Mudryk in. Watch what happens. Like that's the key to keep Sterling. And he had a good. I kept waiting for Sterling to mess up enough to where they would put Mudryk on, but like in the 60th, 65th, and he was still making some runs and still making plays. I was like, you know what? My man's probably not gonna come off for Mudryk. Like, and then Christian Pulisic out of nowhere. Like I honestly didn't see it at all. That was the wild card of the night. But I would like to see Mudryk. I thought he would be because they signed him up instead of players. They put him ahead of players for the Champions League. So why not? I don't know if he's hurt or if he's carrying an injury, if he's really just not fitting into the system because he hasn't played since his debut, right?
He's been in training.
He's just not played since his debut, right?
He's so young.
No, he's played like 3 or 4 games, and then he's been out the last 3, I think.
3, yeah.
Needs those minutes.
That's what I'm saying. He needs 4.
For me, in this game particularly, Potter knew that it was do or die, and Mudryk might be good next season or the next season. He might really hit it. Yeah, he's super young, super kind of raw, really, and so he went with Sterling's been in big games before. Havertz has scored in big games before, and he with the experience. But Kovacic as well, I thought, was immense.
Oh yeah, he was great.
Both past 2 games, he's done well.
Him and Enzo is starting to create a partnership together, and of course,
can he sustain that is the question.
Well, if not, you got N'Golo coming back. So
yeah. So do you think this is a good way to transition? Do you think that it'll be if Conte is healthy? Is it Conte, Enzo, Felix, or is it? Can you get Kovacic and Conte in the same team?
I honestly think this is when, and I've been calling for it almost all season. I honestly think this is when the formation changes.
No way.
Probably.
No way.
Yes.
You don't think so?
There's no way.
When N'Golo Conte gets healthy, you are not going to sit Enzo. You paid $100 million for. You're not going to sit Kovacic because he's a workhorse in the midfield.
They will.
There's no way. If he does that, that's going to leave such a gap because what won us the Champions League was both of them workhorses in the midfield. Those 2 dudes did the job of 4.
I'm just saying that's the one thing that hasn't changed since day one of Graham Potter is the 3 backs with 2 wing backs trying to overload up the top, and you've got everybody crowded up top. We've been saying it since we started the podcast. There's no center attacking midfielder, so he's trying to get his two wingers to create
Play
in
two
that
roles.
space because Chile and James are filling in the width. It's been the
Mhm.
same thing no matter who he's put in. That's what he's tried to play.
I just don't know how you sit one of those three. I don't know where you're going to play them unless you change this formation. Who do you sit out of those three?
Kova.
Dude, that means our midfield has an average height of 5'5". That's not going to be good for 50-50 balls, like at all. That's all I'm going to say.
Conte's a champion.
Conte's a monster, but I don't think he's going to be the same.
My man out jumped Fernandinho for freaking 50-50 balls in the Champions League final. I'm telling you, that still is just incredible to me to this day.
But my man's carrying a serious injury on the back half of 30. Like, I don't know if he's going to be the same.
So here's the question, and this is a fantastic way to segue into the weekend, the preview of the Leicester game, because again, it's another selection nightmare. It's away to Leicester. How does Brendan Rodgers have a job? That's
hopefully we will say the same because we need the points.
We need
the points.
When I was looking at the prediction for this one and thinking about it, man, this is Chelsea are going to be buoyed, but there was an element of luck about both your goals. A bunch of shenanigans on the penalty, I don't think either of these performances really nailed down and answered all of your questions. I think that they played with heart and fire and passion like we haven't seen, and that's gotten them over the line.
No, I'm very upset. I said it in the Leeds game. I don't understand why we're cheering. Like, it's Raheem Sterling's goal. I was glad to get it because of what it meant to the club and what it means to moving forward in this tournament. It's trash. It felt the same way after he missed the first one. Like, I understand the ruling. I get it. I get why it's a second PK. I'll take it. That's not how I want to win the game. I told you the same thing when we beat Milan in Milan. That's not how I want to win this game. That's not how I want Chelsea. I understand a win's a win, but it's different. It's different when that's not what champions are made of. That's not what makes champions. What makes champions is collecting the ball on the outside of the PK and the end of the 97th minute and you slot one. That's what makes a champ. Like, there's a difference between getting lucky and getting by and playing on a level that we know we're supposed to be at. And that's my whole point is even in these two matches, I don't understand what it is about a manager at Chelsea wanting to push quality. And it rubs against the grain for some reason, and we can't keep one. And
it's a big opportunity. It's a big opportunity. Leicester are not good.
No, it's not. But here's the thing: we lost to Southampton when we shouldn't have. We've lost to teams on bad form in worse situations, away from home, because we can't score goals.
Having said all that, that's brings my prediction. I said 1-1 because I'm worried that you can't score goals.
Right. Thank you.
I mean, it's a legitimate concern, and I'm not saying that things are better by any means because they're not. But like I said, after the 1-0 against Leeds, you got to build momentum somehow, some way. And while we did have a goal from open play, which was shocking because we never do. I think that there is some confidence now in this team, and I think that we will score. I think, you keep bringing up Southampton, and I agree that's not a game you should lose, but it takes James Ward-Prowse to win that game for Southampton. I don't see anybody on Leicester being able to convert like he can from outside the box, unless it's James Madison, just to get you riled up.
He's coming back. He's been out and he's back for this game. Maybe
of course he's back for this game. Why wouldn't he be?
Maybe that's what's influenced my. It's going to be a Madison special.
A Madison special, but
their goal.
But no, I think I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea just because I do think that there's going to be a little bit of a hangover because, it was a celebration after that one. on Tuesday. I think there will be a little bit of a hangover, but I think that we'll get one on a corner, and I think Felix finally gets another goal for us, which I thought he was really good against Dortmund.
Yeah.
He really filled that space in the midfield.
Do we see Mount again against Leicester?
Honestly, because I think the team's going to rest a lot of these guys because Potter loves his rest. If that's the excuse, then we better see it again, or else, my dude's just full of it and just says whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and doesn't think anybody's going to catch on, because we do. You're going to give the team a week off and then claim rest. There's a rest opportunity. I do think we see Mount. I don't think we'll see.
It has to be Chile and James, like 100%. There's
they've got to play.
I don't
Those
think
are unchanged spots.
I think we'll see Badiashile. I think we'll see Fofana maybe over Havertz. I think we see some rest coming from these guys. Kova maybe hits the bench for Loftus-Cheek. I do think we see a little bit of these resting players, because the league, as much as I hate to admit it, you kind of have to put your eggs in one basket at this point in time if you're Chelsea, because hitting fifth is a little bit out of reach. Still obtainable. I'm not saying it's not, because we have a bunch of games left, but it's hard to see with the math from where we were how we're going to get there, unless we just start putting www on the board and make this massive run. Unprecedented. Usually there's a draw or a loss in between, 5-6 games, and we just can't afford that to even hit.
Man, April is brutal for everyone.
Right.
Y'all need to build momentum.
So I think honestly it's one of those 2012 situations where we're gonna win the league, or try to win the champions, but come in 10th and be okay with it.
So do you beat Leicester? What's your prediction?
I mean, I say it's going to one. I can't bet. I'm not going to bet against the boys. I'm going to say it's 1-0, but I hope it goes that way, just because I don't think the emphasis is no longer. I think it'll show. I think it'll show with the lineup. It'll show weeks moving forward as we approach some of these Champions League games, especially as we get deeper. I'm excited for the draw. I'm excited to see who we get. But I don't think the league. I don't think some of these league games they're going to be willing to drop, and that's going to see some formation or some player changes. We'll see some of these guys that are going to get shipped off in the summer come into these rest games, which I don't think should, but we'll see.
Hey, Lewis, you're a fantastic listener, my man.
Yeah,
I'm all about it, because I generally agree. I mean, my only real opinion, and I mean, I knew Sterling got his Sterling type goal, but
100% Sterling.
It was a Sterling goal, but I'm kind of in the same line of thought of Patrick. I mean, I hear you on the luck thing, but as I butchered the saying, luck is when preparation meets whatever the rest of the saying says. And so because of that, I think they're going to fly high, because they're going to look at Leicester and say they're not Dortmund. And I think they win 2-0. I think they find 2 goals. I think they ride high because they're away from home. And so if they win, they don't move in the table at all. And I think that's something that will do something for them as well, because then that's a different kind of momentum, because then it's like, well, if we win, we're going to move up. It's we win and we get momentum, because I think momentum means more to them now than placing. And I think the placing will come later. And I think you'll see the team try to find some cohesion, and maybe they don't throw Graham Potter away. But I don't know. We just leave those things to the luckiness of the Englishman, right?
He's gotta go at the end of the season. I do think you're right. I think both of you are right in your original assessment. With now that we've won both these games, I think it solidifies him until the end of the season.
He was close to being gone.
If we would have lost one of 2.
If he had lost one of the 2, every journalist that I follow was like he was going to be
Todd Bowley came down there with a beer to tell that man, you're keeping your job this week, because I was about to have to come down here and fire you.
What's wild though is like drop 1, Drop the next 2 games, and it's back in the pot.
Oh, it's
Right
not.
back.
It's no. Like by no means am I happy or it's Graham Potter. Yeah, I'm on board. No,
He's
it's the
got
hair of his
fine
chin. Yeah, no, it's yeah.
absolute fine margins.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody said it the other day, or it was today. I was listening to something or other, some podcast, and it's like you can't be a little pregnant. Either you did or you didn't. And he got the results. I mean, if I'm boiling, what else am I asking for? Hey, you win the game. Was it you won lucky? Did I win? I advanced in the Champions League, which means I just guaranteed the club some money. So that means I'm paying my salary, and
We've
whoever we get.
sacked more for less.
Yeah,
That's
but
all I'm saying.
but the premise is that Roman sacked more.
I
This is
know.
not Roman, and so we have to look there, because if you look at what's coming for the Champions League, you got the next 4 teams are going to be there. You got the
Ooh.
heavyweights out. Spurs are out, so you got one heavyweight gone.
I hope. Can we see Milan again?
Heavyweight.
We can see
Yeah.
Milan again.
You could see Milan, but I mean,
I would take that.
I
I
mean-
want that actually.
I mean, you
I want
have
that.
to worry because Liverpool's going to beat Real Madrid, because Liverpool is the greatest team ever, and they're going to score 3
Stop.
goals to.
Stop.
Sir, I called Chelsea 2-0, so I'm calling Liverpool 3-0 over Real Madrid, and then they're going to go forward and they're going to make the greatest run ever.
PK Liverpool coming at it again.
Oh my
Hair-
goodness
hair on the-
gracious me.
I will say
Oh,
one more
man.
thing. I
Get it.
liked that we came out in a press. It was the first time I've seen it in a while.
Yeah.
I hope that we adopt that going forward, because I mean we pressed hard, but it wasn't a Lampard press where it was like pure blitzkrieg come at you for 45 minutes. I mean, we pressed in the right position, right times, like
Yeah, like I said, I
and
thought
it was
Enzo
as a
and Ozil
unit.
had a
It was
game. Right, I
together.
It was
thought
as a
Enzo
unit,
and Coker
exactly.
kept that really well. Absolutely.
Well, speaking of
Absolutely.
pressing, smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Get the notification bell on. We definitely got plenty more action coming at you. Plenty more videos coming. I know I've had a good one tonight. I hope you have as well. Thanks for listening, and have a good night.
Absolutely.